Let's create some line collage monsters. For this, we're going to need a pair of scissors, some glue, as well as a black marker. If you don't have a black marker, a pencil is just fine, and you'll also need some construction paper. My construction paper has been cut into 9-inch squares. So grab a piece of construction paper and let's get started. We're going to be drawing some lines beginning at the very top of your piece of paper. We're going to make a vertical line that goes straight down. So starting at the top, I like to pull my marker down. I'm trying to keep my line straight to create a vertical line. Next up, let's try drawing a zigzag line. This is a line that's made up of diagonal or slanted lines. So first, I will draw a diagonal or slanted line going one way. I'll stop, and then I'm going to draw that slanted or diagonal line going the opposite direction. This creates a point where the two lines meet. That point is called an angle, and when the angle is repeated, the line is called a zigzag line. So I'm bringing my line all the way down to the bottom of the paper. Your line and my line do not have to be the same, so don't worry if your zigzag is different than mine. Now let's make a wavy line. A wavy line is rounded or curved, and that curve repeats, which is what creates the wave. I'm making a nice big wavy line because we do have to cut these lines out. So I'm making them nice and big so they're a little easier to cut. Why don't we draw another vertical line starting at the top of our paper, going to the bottom, and let's end it with another zigzag line. This time I'm making it with the slanted lines being a little bit more slanted, and I'm adding a little bit more points or angles to create a more pointed or angled zigzag. Now with my scissors, I'm going to slowly and carefully cut each one of these lines out. I'm starting at the bottom of the paper. My other hand is holding my paper still for me. My hand that's holding the scissors, it never ever changes direction. It always faces away from me. Notice how I had to kind of lift the extra paper up so it was easier for me to cut. Cutting a zigzag line can be a little bit tough because of all of the points. So let me show you a trick. When you come to the end of one line, pause your scissors, rotate your paper, and then continue cutting. Get to the end, open your scissors all the way, use your extra hand to pivot or rotate the paper before you continue cutting. This is why when you're cutting, it's important to use both hands. Your other hand has the important job of holding your paper for you. So don't forget to open the scissors, pivot or rotate the paper before you continue to cut. If you're having a hard time with this, go slower. Going faster can actually make it more difficult to cut. So just slow down, take a deep breath, and try again. It's a little easier with a wavy line, but you do have to make smaller cuts with your scissors to help the line look more round. If you use long cuts with your scissors, it will make a lot of pointed lines, and for a wavy line, we want it to be wavy. So make the cuts nice and small. All right, here's our second to last line, our vertical line. Notice my extra hand is helping me by holding the paper still. And then back to that zigzag. Anytime you're cutting something that has points or angles, remember this trick of opening the scissors, rotating or pivoting the paper, and then continuing to cut. It will make it so that you're able to cut those nice pointy corners a lot easier. Now that you have finished cutting out all of your paper, You can trade papers with your neighbor. Maybe your neighbors have used different colors to cut out their lines with. You could, of course, use all of the colors and lines that you've created, or you could put them in a big pile like I did with your friends and share. Now I'm going to use a square of paper that's going to be my background. Some people call that a substrate. This background is where I will be gluing all of these really cool lines that I just cut out. Now, the fun part is deciding where you're going to glue things. This isn't a puzzle, so we're not trying to put the pieces back together again. No, what we're trying to do is create a totally new composition. That's a word that means the placement of things to create a design. So rotate or flip those papers around, but what we are trying to do is make sure that the papers go from one side to the other side. So those papers that we have cut out are going from one side to the other side. Notice they are not going up and down, but from one side to the other side. So right now, I'm just trying to decide which papers I like best and which design, to me, looks the most interesting. I can't have any of these papers hanging off of my background or my substrate. Once I have everything in place, now it's time to glue. When I'm using my glue, I have to twist the cap open, and then I give it a gentle squeeze. I should be able to hear it breathe. If I can hear that, then that means the glue is ready to be used. I use a dot of glue, just a dot, not a line and not a lot. Just a dot and not a lot. Flip my paper over, and then to help the glue stick, I have to massage the little piece of paper. And now I've massaged the paper, and that gives the paper a little bit of what's called grab time. That allows the paper and the glue to grab and really stick. If you just flip the paper over and move on to the next, you're not helping the paper get enough grab time. So after you have glued it, make sure that you flip it over, and then you give a little massage to help the paper have some grab time. I'm going to be adding little dots, not a lot, of glue on the back of all of the papers. How do I know it's the back? Look at this orange paper. You can see the black marker of the lines that I drew. That's how I know it's the back. That's where the glue will go. Now, once again, I'm making sure that the paper goes from one side to the other side and that no paper is hanging off of the background or the substrate. When I'm finished gluing all of these papers down, I need to make sure that all of the papers are really going to stick. So for that, I'll turn the whole thing over and give it a massage. And if any of the papers aren't sticking, I can peel up a little corner and give a tiny little dot of glue. It probably means it just didn't either have enough glue or enough grab time. Once your paper is all finished and all of the pieces are in place, let's flip it over and give it a little massage. Now for a little bit, we are done with our glue. Whenever you're not using your glue, it's very important that you twist the top cap closed so the glue bottle does not get clogged. All right, now that we have our line collage, we're going to turn this into a line collage monster. So right now, I'm trying to decide how large of circles I want to draw on this white paper to create the eyes of my monster. I can practice by drawing with my finger first, or I looked around and found that I had something that was the right size and round to trace. You could trace or you could draw. It's up to you. Now I want to make 2 eyes. So for that reason, I'm going to fold my paper in half because that will give me 2 parts of the paper. If I keep the paper folded while I cut, what do you think will happen? I had a circle. I folded the paper in half. While the paper is folded, I am slowly and carefully cutting it out. What do you think is going to happen when I'm finished cutting the circle out? If you guessed that I would have 2 circles, you figured it out. So by only cutting and drawing it once, but keeping my paper folded, I ended up with 2 circles for my eyes. And now I'm working on deciding where I want the eyes to go, the placement or the composition. But before I do that, I think these eyes are missing something. Do you know what that something is called? It's called a pupil. These eyes need a pupil. So on black paper, I'm drawing a smaller circle. Not a teeny tiny circle, but one that is smaller than the ones I made for the eyes. And because I want 2 of them, I'm folding the paper in half. And with my scissors, keeping the paper closed, cutting both of them out. And that will give me, I'm sure you've already guessed it, 2 circles just like I did with the eyes. These 2 circles will be used for the pupils. Now the fun part is deciding where will the pupils go, because that helps me figure out which direction my monster will be looking. Is it looking at us? Oh, hello there. Or maybe it's looking up at the sky. Perhaps it's looking over at its buddy. Maybe it's looking down at its smelly monster feet. Or perhaps it's just being silly and it has eyes looking in different directions. You are the artist, so you get to decide. You could also create something like eyebrows. Eyebrows will help to show the emotion that your creature is feeling. If your monster is feeling a little bit happy or sad or anxious or angry, these eyebrows will really help to show that. Oh, a little bit scary looking like that. What about, oh, don't worry, monster, it's okay. Let's see, what other direction could they go? Oh, kind of silly, maybe questioning, what's going on here? Once you've figured out where those will go, then we can get ready to glue them down. I decided I didn't want mine to be just rectangular, but maybe to have a zigzag line to show that the eyebrows had a little bit of fuzzy texture. You are the artist, so you can decide if that's something that you want to do. And then last but not least, we need to create a little monster mouth. So if you have some scrap paper, you could pick a color that you like, that you think would work for your monster mouth. I thought orange would look good because I don't have a lot of orange at the bottom of my paper. This square was looking a little big, so I decided to trim it down and make it a little bit smaller. Now, with some of my scraps, I think it might be fun to give my monster some teeth. So with that scrap of white paper, notice I keep reusing some of my paper over and again. I didn't go and get a brand new piece of paper because I already had plenty of paper at my spot where I'm working. And I can use this paper to create little squares for teeth. Oh, it could be a baby monster with maybe 1 tooth or maybe 2 teeth. Perhaps it has a whole mouthful of teeth. Now, once you have everything that you have wanted to create for your monster laid down, it's now time to glue everything in place. Remember, when you're gluing, it's just a dot, not a lot, and glue goes around the edges of whatever it is you are gluing. When I'm adding my glue, I don't put it on the edge though. it goes near the edge of what it is I'm gluing. The reason I don't put it on the edge is because when I press it down, the glue can sometimes squish out the bottom and make fingers very sticky. So that's why when I put glue, I put it just a dot, not a lot. Glue goes around the edges, and it also doesn't go on the edge because we don't want it to all squish out. All right, last but not least, we're going to put glue around the edge of the mouth and our monster is complete. Oh, but don't forget to flip the whole thing over and give it a massage. Now let's go over those directions one more time. Your first step was to draw slowly and carefully a group of lines that are nice and big and easy for us to cut. When you're finished drawing your lines, cut slowly and carefully. I have sped up the video just a little bit, so that's why it looks like I'm cutting really fast, when actually I am cutting slowly and carefully. Don't forget, when it's a point, you must pivot. Then you're going to lay out all of those pieces of paper to decide on your composition, the placement of things. Remember, your papers need to go from one side to the other side and must all fit inside of your substrate or background. Glue goes around the edges with just a dot, not a lot, and not on the edge, but around the edge. Whenever you're finished using your glue bottle, don't forget to twist it closed and also flip your whole paper over and give it a massage. That helps your glue have grab time. Next up, we can work on the face of the monster. You can draw big circles for the eyes or find something round to trace. Remember, if you fold the paper in half, you'll end up with 2 eyes, 2 pupils. Don't forget to glue things down so that they will stick. Eyebrows will give your monster emotions, and a mouth will help to show how it's feeling, happy or sad, and scrap paper is perfect for details like teeth. Most of all, I hope you have a great time creating your line monster collage using your scissors and your marker and your glue. I know your monster is going to be amazing. Have fun, friends. Toodles!